Welcome back, people. Fat Bloonskis coming at you next with the Sword Master Hunter build. It's been a while since I made a hunter build for you guys, so here you go. This build is all about using a sword and going invisible. Any sword will do for this build as long as it's masterworked, and I'll explain why later. Honestly, there's probably better options than the one I use, but I like to use a hunter class sword, Goldtusk. The reason being is I simply love the way he runs with it. I feel like I'm in Naruto, and it fits perfectly with the theme of this build. You can get this sword very easily by completing the heroic menagerie. As for my armor, I'm stacking all of my sword mods like sword ammo finder, sword reserves, and sword scavenger. I'm also using bleeding edge, which will grant me super energy on sword final blows, and I have 100 mobility, which I'll explain why in a minute. The last two mods that are lifesavers in this build are taking charge and protective light. Taking charge will make me become charged with light when picking up an orb of light. Remember when I said any sword would do as long as it's masterworked? Well, here's where it's important. Since we're going to be slaying out with our sword, having a masterwork sword will cause us to make orbs of light on kills, which is what we need to become charged with light and allow us to utilize protective light. Protective light is very important in this build. It's like my get out of jail free card. When I am charged with light, if an enemy breaks my shield, I'll gain a significant damage resistance. When this does happen, there's a little buff that pops up called Sheltered by the Void. That's the protective light mod going to work. This comes in very clutch because I'll be in the enemy's faces with my sword, meaning I'm prone to taking a lot of damage, thus allowing me to disengage with ease once protective light activates. This actually leads me into why I'm using 100 mobility. Having 100 mobility means I have a 9-second cooldown on my dodge ability. 9 seconds! I'm pairing that with top tier NIGHTSTALKER because of the perk Vanishing Step. Vanishing Step will make me go invisible whenever I dodge. As you can see, I can go invisible, and then 9 seconds later I can go invisible again. This will save my life multiple times and it's extremely powerful. I decided to use Orpheus Rig as my exotic armor piece because the more enemies tethered means more super energy in return, and since we're already using bleeding edge and collecting a lot of orbs of light, it just makes sense to use this to get my super back even faster. Since I'm going to be up close and personal with the enemy, I'm going to be taking a lot of damage. I'm also going to be creating orbs of light with my masterwork sword, which will make me become charged with light. Once I'm charged with light, I have this safety net that protective light provides, because whenever I take too much damage, I'll gain a huge damage resistance buff. It's at this moment when I dodge to go invisible, run away and regain my health, and then jump back in to do it again. Meanwhile, I'm generating a lot of super energy because I'm using bleeding edge, collecting orbs of light, and using Orpheus rigs. This build is extremely fun, probably some of the most fun I've had on a hunter class in a while. It's really good in some of the horde style activities like the new sundial, the menagerie, and the forges. You can probably run this in some of the pinnacle activities as well because you're not taking up that kinetic slot for Izanagi's, but you'll just have to play it safe because the enemies are really powerful in those activities. I highly recommend using this because the fun factor is really high and that's what gaming is all about. But that'll be it for me, guys. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Fat_Bloonskis. I usually post when my videos go live on there, so you'll never miss out on a video. While you're at it, check out some of my other content as well. I have some really strong builds in there and some really fun gameplay. I'll post some links in the description for you. Anyways, deuces.